Latin Dream, man. Music brought to you by Latin Dream. Yeah. Shout out to you for that, man. Shout out to PTMG. They're going to be doing the show live in Pittsburgh, May 19th. I hope you're going to be there, man. It's going to be powerful. Ooh, man, I can't wait for that one. Set up, get everything ready to go. Made me do it, man. It made me do it. Special one, man. This is going out to all the moms. Salute to y'all. Man, I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for the moms in my life, man. My goodness. We almost there, man. Secrets to Recovery. I'm Warren Garrett, and this is going to be a special one for Mother's Day. Salute to all the moms, especially my mom. Man, I don't know where I'd be. But we got a powerful one for you today, for sure. And it starts off talking about how we deify our celebrities. Right? We deify our celebrities. And my nephew, shout out to my nephew Jarrell, shout out to you, nephew. But he had made a post one day where he was expressing some concern for Jamie Foxx, right? And I get that, but I wanted to respond and say, well, I'm more glad that you're okay. You know, it's like, as long as everybody in my life is okay, then I could be maybe have some kind of concern for somebody else. And I don't mean that in any kind of negative way. It's just that we put these celebrities sometimes on a pedestal, even above those that is really in our life, you know, helping us out. You remember the movie American Sniper? Remember that joint right there? You know, that made a lot of money. That was a good movie, man. I did watch that. I read the book, too. Oh, Snoop. Headphones. Oh. I read the book, too, though. The book was tight. The book went into a little more detail. But this is one of those movies where they're able to trigger certain emotions and feelings and connect those to certain people, and it shows how they can manipulate us, right? Now, we know, like, as most movies, when they say, it's based off a true story, we understand that, movies lie. We understand that, right? But the emotions that they produce in us are real. But a lot of times they're produced off of what is initially a lie. So check this out. We get manipulated by the media and the world, and this is why we believe that, God's not looking to punish us for being a victim to this world. You understand? Because the only reason that we disobey God or go the wrong way is because we have been fooled into something. That's just the reality of it. But let's look at some of these things about old American sniper here, Chris Kyle. Which, let's be honest, Chris Kyle, these video games that they're playing today, these Call of Duty and all this stuff like that, this guy, this is who they made these games. This based these games off of this guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying this guy for real was a hero. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it wrong. But when it comes to these movies, you know how they lie. You know how they do. So just to go over some of those things, like, for example, Chris Kyle, he fought in the Iraq War, for sure. But what they did in the movie was they connected that to what happened on 9/11. But we now know that connection was falsely made. And they had us thinking that they had something to do with that, so everybody was on board with going over there. But notice, none of that was in the movie. They did the opposite and followed the narrative that was given back when 9/11 happened and made it seem like those two were the same. Not true. There was another part where they talked about $180,000 bounty was on Chris Kyle's head. If you go back and watch the movie, spoiler alert, I mean, it's an old movie, so if you ain't seen it by now, it just is what it is. But they had a bounty on his head in the movie, right? But the reality of it was it was more like $20,000, and it was a bounty that was placed on all snipers. You know what I'm saying? But they made it seem like they were targeting Chris Kyle. That wasn't the case. And again, the whole movie completely ignores why they was fighting that war to begin with. You see what I'm saying? It ignores all that stuff, how they lied and said, oh, they got weapons of mass destruction over there. We got to go over there. It's a threat to the world. We got to go over there. It was all a lie. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? But we can look at that and say, oh, well, that was just, that's a movie. That's how they do in the movies, right? We could say that, I guess. But here's some real life stuff that they intentionally leave out of the movie because they want you to keep that feeling that they have generated and spent a lot of money to generate in you. They didn't talk about this aspect. Now, Jesse Ventura, he sued Chris Kyle because Chris Kyle was going around telling people that he knocked out Jesse Ventura for talking about Iraq veterans, right? Come to find out, he was lying, but he would go around and tell people this. Now, I would understand, most people understand, probably giving the pass because PTSD is, make you do some strange things. So he was going around saying this, and the jury awarded that money to Jesse Ventura because he was lying, right? Right? But that, that's just a small example. You know what I'm saying? That's just a small example. I really feel like, why not tell the whole story about Chris Kyle? Because there's a lot of stuff. I could go in, there was a lot of stuff when I was researching this. I could go in and just give you example after example of people calling this brother out. So my thing is, why not put that in the story too? That would have made for a better story, be honest. But you know, they want to deify him. That's what it is. You know what I mean? He can do no wrong now. But for this Mother's Day, you know, man, really appreciative all the moms out there and everything that you all have to go through. The act of raising good people and giving them to the world is, you know, there's no higher honor than that. And there's no better form of community service. That's something we wholeheartedly believe. And big shout out to y'all. But today, this presentation is going to be about a different hero and somebody who does not deserve the title mother. Does not deserve that, right? Now, Mother Teresa of Calcutta won the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Loved all over the world. Some people may not know who this is, but I remember growing up, it wasn't even questioned. Like when you talked about this lady, she could do no wrong. And within the Catholic Church, they really did deify her, right? Check this out. To be beatified in the Catholic religion. Catholics out there, you know what I'm talking about. To be beatified. Mother Teresa was beatified in 2003. Now, what does that mean? This is when, now the Catholics believe that when you die, you don't immediately go to heaven, right? For the average person. So to be beatified, they believe that now they know that she's actually in heaven and she can intercede on the behalf of whoever, you know, she wants. So you can pray to her, right? Instead of praying to God. And I'm sure, you know, those Catholics out there, they can help you break that down if you want to get more into that. But that's the long and short of it. So she was beatified in 2003. All this stuff I heard as a kid growing up, I never even questioned it. That's what's crazy about. I never even questioned any of this, right? Because this was all before the internet. This was all before the internet. Now, she needs to stop looking like that. So now, I always assumed that, you know, she helped poor people, right? She helped poor people. That means, for example, when you look at the God's chosen ones transition home, right? We try to help people that, you know, are less fortunate, right? So we try to help out, but we don't try to keep them poor, right? We want them to advance and move on and you know, produce a good life for themselves, right? So that's what a person will think of when you say, oh, they help the poor. They help their condition that they're in, right? With Mother Teresa, that was not the case. Trust that. And I brought receipts all day. We're going to be going over them. Check this out. So the Baltimore Sun, they wrote an article on this talking about how Mother Teresa would routinely say that, you know, rigorous poverty has been our safeguard. And in my opinion, she's talking about the safeguard of the rich, you know, because she would say, hey, you need to stay poor. Enjoy it. She made all her nurses and everybody that worked for her, well, there was no nurses. It was people that were volunteering as nuns, but some of them did have nursing backgrounds. They also had to take a vow of poverty, to remain in poverty, right? Let me read some of this here real quick. Yeah, see, it says, by serving the poor, and then gradually move towards serving the rich. Because that's who this thing really serves. She was the founder of a organization called Missionaries of Charity, right? And you got to respect the marketing on that because, of course, it got missionaries and charity in it. So, I mean, who's not going to give a couple dollars, right? But anyway, so they wrote about this, and she said that she wanted them to stay poor. It wasn't about helping people overcome their condition, which that's what we get sold over here, that God will help you get up out of your condition, right? Let's see. We did the Missionaries of Charity. Man, that's really a tight name, man. You really can't get no better than that. She really was whoever came up with that was a genius. But the places that she had, the places that she cared for people, right? They weren't hospitals. They weren't places for you to get better. God's chosen ones, transition homes, they're not hospitals either, but they're still places where we encourage people to get better. Not so at the houses of the dying, that's what Mother Teresa would refer to those places as. Let's see. Check this out. You see it. This is what she said, right? There is something beautiful in seeing the poor accept their lot, to suffer it like Christ's passion. The world gains much from their suffering. The rich gain much. The rich gain much from their suffering. The poor stay poor and the rich stay rich, right? That's what she was saying, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I mean, that's what it was. It wasn't like she was trying to start programs to help people, get back on their feet. It wasn't nothing like that going on. But I thought it was. When I thought about this as a young man, I mean, it was kind of in the back of my mind. But, that's how I looked at it. Sally Warner, she was a 13-year vet over there. She described it like this. Watch this. You know what I mean? That's what they look like right there. That was one of the spots right there. Horrible conditions, of course. Horrible. Sally Warner referred to people as rotting away. She would see children. And I always ask myself, like, why did she stay there for so long? But I bet you, as she saw these children being treated the way they were, I bet you she could not walk away. She probably felt like, at least if somebody's here, I could help them a little bit. But listen to this, though. Patients just sitting around doing nothing, often in cement floors and lying in their own excrement. People drugged wrongly by the nuns, because the nuns, they weren't medical professionals. They would give people the wrong medication. Man. And then she would describe it as people just rotting away. This is abuse. This is Mother Teresa. These are the places that she ran, and people gave millions and millions of dollars because they thought they were helping these people. Man. Now take a look at this real quick. Now you see that, right? Now I want you to take a look at this here real quick. Huffington Post wrote about this. So anyway, talking about her access to a fortune. And I know that's true because I know how nonprofits work. You know what I mean? People are donating millions and millions, and companies, they get to keep more of their profits the more they give away. So they partner with people like this. And they talk about the conditions of the places that she had, despite her access to a fortune. Despite her access to a fortune. Despite her access to a fortune. Umar Johnson style. You like that? You like that? But seriously, though, access to a fortune. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what they made through the charity itself. That's not including what they made through the Catholic Church as a whole. You understand? Access to a fortune. Check this out. This was the bathroom at one of the places. Now, when you talk about mothers, right? You talk about mothers. Ain't no way in the world a mother is going to have you doing this at her house. That's without question. That's without question. And they going to call her, Mother Teresa, a mother? They give her that title? And this is how her spot looked? No, I don't think so. Not when people are getting off work, paying bills, and still come home, clean the whole crib, take care of everything. No, not this right here. No, you don't get no mother points for that. And you had people living like that. It's hard to even look at these, man. It's hard to even see this. To think that this was people's last. This was the last thing they saw before they died. Could you imagine being in these conditions? I know people in prison that don't live like this. When I was in prison, I didn't live like that. I was more deserving of it. This was a place they had, another place, Mother Teresa, owned by the Missionaries of Charities. They got this lady chained to a wall. Let that be your loved one. Let you walk in and see your loved one there. Could you imagine the drama you would set off? And these people had access to a fortune. Where was that money going? Sally Warner again. She was the 13-year volunteer that probably could not walk away because she was seeing this stuff here. Mother Teresa. And look what she's doing to those babies. Are you kidding me? And the moms of today that we see struggling, striving to make sure that their kids are not like that. No, you don't get the title of mother and you're doing these babies like this. Talking about it's going to be a beautiful death. Man, please. Man, please. This was a description of the conditions that were in these places that these people had to live in. Places that were owned by people that had money. And I'll tell you this, back talking about God's chosen ones, you know, a lot of people came to us because the people that had money, the people that had the resources, refused to help them. And we were the only place that we didn't charge you to come in. We didn't, you know, we didn't ask anything of you other than a desire to get yourself together. But this was the lady that they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to. This is the one that they're calling Mother Teresa. Nuns shaking and beating kids as discipline. Children that are sick on their deathbed, some of them, that they would cry out in pain probably. And here come these nuns with the so-called love of Jesus in them. Lice. Minimal visits from a physician. Syringes being washed out with tap water. People lying in their own excrement. Deplorable condition. And they were able to hide this from the world. Mm. Awful. Awful. Hard to even look at that, man. Can't believe that. They were giving this lady millions, scamming the whole world. Check this out. This is this guy's channel's called Catholic Truth, right? Where he talks a lot of Catholic wisdom. And I'm not Catholic, but I like this guy, man, because he's a good speaker, man. I can tell he's a good debater and real intelligent guy. I can tell he's real passionate about his faith, and I always respect that. But unfortunately, I gotta go in on you because you got it wrong this time. Catholic Truth. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I gotta do it to you. So Catholic Truth made a video, and I suggest you go check it out. I was gonna try to put it in the description. I might put it in later, but definitely go check that out. If you put Catholic Truth in the YouTube search box and then put Mother Teresa, you'll see his defense of the accusations that I'm levying and so many others have as well. But of course, you know, they have deified this lady. So she can do no wrong in their eyes, you know. And I respect that. But unfortunately, the truth always wins. And Catholic Truth, you lied. Okay? So here we go. Check this out, man. You know what you think about this one right here.
Is there. One of the people he had a problem with.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
With her accepting money from was Robert Maxwell, who was a British, and he embezzled money.
Gotta get this to work, man. I need you to hear the bull crap. He's getting ready to drop. Oh, man. See here. On here. Oh, okay. I see what. My fault. It's my fault. Okay, so it was working. Was working.
Millions of dollars from his own employees' funds. Now, of course, that's despicable and that's terrible. Robert Maxwell, who was a British publisher, and he embezzled money, millions of dollars from his own employees' funds. Now,
Yes,
of course,
he
that's
did.
despicable and that's terrible, and he ended up getting prosecuted for it. But what Mr. Hitchens doesn't tell you, or doesn't know himself because he doesn't do proper research, is that Mr. Maxwell donated large amounts of money to the missionaries of charity and to Mother Teresa before he became a criminal, before he did these bad things. Back when he was a good guy, he donated to her, but somewhere along the line, he ended up.
Okay, so let me just stop that nonsense right there. So he's talking about he gave this money before he was a bad guy. He doesn't personally know this man. How does he know when he became a bad guy? Just when he got convicted? I don't think so. This guy was doing bad business practices. These things develop. These type of scams these guys run, these rich fools, how they scam us, they take time to develop these scams, and they scam us for millions and millions of dollars. And then what they do is they then go and donate some to charity, so the IRS ain't really looking at them. Then they get the props for that. So then you have this guy that's going to come in and say, oh, remember when he was a good guy? Man, please. Cut it out. Cut it out, Catholic truth, with your Catholic lies. All right? Knock it off. Get off my screen, man. Sorry, man. I like him. I like the guy. You know what I mean? I listened to some of his things. But you messed up on that one, because I'm not going to stand for somebody that was living like that to be able to take the same title as somebody that's out here taking care of their kids, handling their business. No, Catholic truth. No. Cut it out. Knock it off. You won't do that. You won't do that. So check this out. Charles Keating. This was another one. He gave you an example of somebody she's taking all this money from. They have all this money. They're collecting all this money, right? But look at the people that they're taking the money from. The Catholic truth would go and say, oh, he gave that money before he was bad, before he was convicted. This is Charles Keating right here. She took a lot of money from him. Not only did she take money from him, but when she got sick and she needed medical care, he gave her his private jet so she could fly around and get the best medical treatment. There wasn't no accept your lot. Charles Keating, he built 23,000 investors out of their money through Lincoln Savings and Loan. The taxpayers ended up paying $3.4 billion to make all that right. Convicted of 17 counts of fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy, and almost 5 years in jail. And it's like, what, that's it? I know people that got more time than that for a dirty yarn. Man, please. You know what I mean? You know, and this was Mother Teresa's homeboy. Right? You don't think so? Watch this. Now you see, he gets convicted. He's in federal court getting convicted. Before that, Mother Teresa writes a letter on his behalf to who? The judge, Judge Lance Ito. If you remember, that was the same judge from the OJ trial. Not to digress, but that is an interesting fact there. So she writes this letter. Check this out. Now he's been proven that he did this, right? She writes this letter. Now, starting it off, she's basically saying, I don't know what I'm talking about on this. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea what he does, what he's about, or any of the matters that you're dealing with as far as why I'm writing you this letter today. Right? She don't have no clue. But still, he gave me some millions, gave me the private jet. So, I'm going to write this letter on his behalf, talking about how generous he is, blah, 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 blah. Right? And Catholic Truth, if you go back and watch that video, you should go back and check that out, because he's going to talk about how, people didn't do their research and, they didn't talk to people that were there and all this stuff. All these stuff I'm showing you, these people that was there. These people that know this lady. Check this out. She wrote that letter. Judge Ito, he didn't even acknowledge it, first of all. Then he give it to the deputy DA, right? He give it to the deputy DA, and this was his response. And this was I love this. I love this, that he turned her and hit her with her own joint. What would Jesus do if he were in the possession of money that had been stolen? What would Jesus do if he were being exploited by a thief to ease his conscience? Get out the way so I can see that. I submit that Jesus would promptly and unhesitantly return the stolen property to its rightful owners. You should do the same. That's what he said. This was somebody that was there live in person telling her, give that money back. If you want to help out in this situation, give that money back to those people. What was her response? Crickets after that. Well, time to get back to the money, I suppose. She went all about her way. Mother Teresa. Man, please. Mother Teresa. So these are people that, they were there. They saw this. And I remember as a kid growing up, hearing about Mother Teresa and hearing about, all the good things that she had done and the Nobel Peace Prize and all of that. And you don't even question it, because they put these things out in the media and they make her seem like but the real story is more interesting. Tell the real story of her. There's so much stuff I found about her. There was passages that she wrote in diaries that she was struggling and believing in God. She didn't have no faith in God. And she would write about this for years and years. But she would go on telling these people, hey, we're putting you in these chains for your own good. But I'm going to end it right there. Shout out to the moms, man. I hope you got blessed by that. But shout out to the moms. You guys are the real heroes for sure. And man, where would this world be without y'all? And I'm glad to see the ladies are getting their shine, man, with all the, especially in sports. Wow, nobody really probably remembers who won the men's college tournament. But man, that women's tournament, man, that thing was on fire this year, man. 2023, definitely the year of the queen, for sure, man, for sure. Man, so here we go. Yeah. Did another one, man. Shout out to you, Ma. This one's for you. Hey, like I said, don't forget, PTFG, they're going to be in the building May 19th, woo, right around the corner. Man, you do not want to miss that. We're all going to be in the building for that one. All in attendance. Without a doubt, man. May 19th, Club 24, PTFG, Saga, Tough, Product. Man, so much more, man. It's going to be live out there. Happy Mother's Day. Hope y'all get some rest, some peace. Do whatever you got to do, man. Keep doing what you